Hey, welcome. This is Jay Nicholas for the Oregon Fly Fishing blog. We're going to tie a little trout streamer using a composite loop on a standard hook. And this is going to be a winner for all kinds of fish. Let's get zoomed in and started. So this is pretty much what it's going to look like, and you might be thinking, oh man, another rabbit strip fly. Well, yeah, why not? Why not? Rabbit strip flies work, they always have, they always will. I'm going to use a composite loop, and I'm using some SLF, kind of an orange. I could use ice dub. I'm going to just kind of eyeball this. Now I've got a EP brush here. This is kind of probably a foxy brush in a brownish. I'm gonna, instead of winding this brush by itself, what you could do, I'm working on my composite loop. So I cut off a piece and I lay it down on my scrim. You know, sometimes, and I'm picking out the longest guard hairs because they're just longer than I want them to be. And I'm going to use some sinew. Here, I've got it down here. Greg Sinew, my dear friend, who I probably talk to twice a year and message twice a year. Hey, how you doing, Greg? Doing all right? Said, yep. Too much work. Not enough time to fish. Senyo's barred metallic predator wrap. This is kind of a fluorescent orange. I'm going to cut a piece. First piece is going to be about an inch. Second piece could be about an inch and a half. Lay it in there. Put some little bit of ice dub over that. How about some just tan UV ice dub? So the point of this fly, this is a little streamer fly, and you could do it on a tube. You could do it on like a shank, an OPST shank or an aquafly shank. You could, but I'm doing it on a regular hook. Here's my Loon tweezers, big deal. There's my hook. And guess what? That's way too much for this hook. This is a size 6 hook. I think that's more like it, okay? So they always gather, and this is 210 denier, this thread. And I have tied composite loops with different threads, and some people like 140D. I think this Danville's flat wax 210 is good. And so until I start deciding I need something different, I'm just going to stick with it. But if you got something different, more power to you. No worries, just have fun with it. So I'm actually gonna trim off the short edge just a little bit. I'm gonna straighten out, and now I'm gonna spin. So the fact is, you could probably just lash a piece of rabbit strip on a hook and drag it through the water, and the fish would bite it. Got my little handy dubbing brush here. I could probably, what else could I do? I could just use, I don't really know. I don't think there are any brushes that are sparse enough, commercial brushes that are sparse enough to tie on this body. You could probably just use tinsel. Now I need a little bit of water. I just keep a bottle of water on the fly tying bench, and I have a bead cup next to me, like so, and I just get a little bit of water in there, and I'm gonna work this. I'm gonna use my finger to hold that steady and just use my rotary vise to. Okay, now with each turn I'm gonna move the composite loop forward and hold the substance of the brush toward the rear. And that requires me to turn it just a little bit each time. As you can see, it wants to spin forward, it wants to aim forward, and I don't want it to. So now I've got only enough room here to tie my rabbit strip, so I'm going to call it quits right there. Now I'm going to trim this not super short, not super close, but I want to pick a little bit of that material out so my tie-in isn't super thick. Take another lash there, and now let's do a little bit of our combing. So when you're fishing for trout, I think it's really important not to use too big a hook. I said this is a size 6. It's a modestly size 6. You could tie this fly on a size 2 hook, but I think unless you're only catching monster size trout, I think a size 2 hook is way too hard on the trout. Even when it's barbless, you are going to wind up with, now I'm shifting to a finer thread to finish this off. Size 2 hook and an 8-inch trout, a 10-inch trout is most likely going to eye hook that fish. Going to hook them in the eye. And when you're hooked in the eye, or through the gill plate, it doesn't matter if you're barbless or not. That fish is still going to be a goner. And that's just the way it is. So, crawdad colored micro zonker. Now I want this to be, I want the hide to be twice the hook length. So there's 1 times the hook length, here's 2 times the hook length. I'm going to give it an extra 1/4 of an inch for the tie-in. I'm going to pull a little bit of hair off there. And now let me set it on there and see if that looks right. It does. That looks right. Okay, is it going to foul? Yeah, it will occasionally, but not that badly. But boy, this moves in the water, and this composite loop, it's twitchy and buggy and translucent. So get a couple turns there. I'm going to reduce the amount of bulk there. And now I'm gonna spin a little loop of this same hair, and And I'm going to do that by getting that in my tweezers. Trim it off the hide. Now I want to pull these out if I can. Dubbing loop. And this is a 74D Lagerton. It's pretty tough, but we're not going to spin it as hard as we spun the main composite loop. So I did not do a good job of transferring, so I'm going to have to finesse this. I'm going to have to pull these tips out a little bit. I don't want all my videos to be about how to repair errors. I want to get it right sometime. Okay, so there we have a nice little rabbit fur brush, and let's get a little bit of cement here. So I'm going to brush this back as I go. Call it quits, Jay.
What other color combinations would you use, Jay? Besides the Crawdad orange?
Well, guess what?
I'm thinking olives would look beautiful.
Yep. What else? What else?
Browns.
Yeah. What else?
Of course, black.
What else?
Pretty much any color you want.
Yeah. Yeah. How about white?
Yeah.
White is a killer streamer color. What about yellow?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny, we don't think about those colors too often.
Yep.
The white.
We
Until we're desperate.
we really get in the rut with olives and, you know, crawdad type things, and we forget that trout and steelhead are quite nicely attracted to whites and yellows, and if you're up in Alaska you might try, you know, fuchsia or hot pink or something like that. So there we have. I really like this white. It moves. It's got just a little bit of sparkle in there. I'm going to trim off a few of these composite loop fibers that are just a little bit longer than I'd like them to be. There you have it. Trout streamer. I know it's a fishy fly.